Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Rose.
And I'm Jessica Bunbun.
Welcome to our Yellowjackets Season 3, Episode 8 preview. This episode is titled A Normal Boring Life, which is exactly what we all think about when it comes to Shauna in the present buying materials to take out other people who she feels are threats to her family.
Yeah, I mean, this preview really has amped things up. Is
Yeah.
Shauna actually behind Lottie's death? I mean, there's DNA evidence that maybe. Now we've seen her with this knife at Hannah's daughter's house, presumably, and it's not looking great. I mean, this preview, we see her hiding it, walking towards presumably the house, and we hear this sort of voiceover of her saying that, the only way to truly be safe is to be the only one left.
There's a lot of smoke around that at this point. There's very much there can be only one feeling that is sort of emanating through Shauna. But I think what this preview does effectively is that you've got that whole almost Highlander-esque part of it, but then you also have on top of that, and brace yourselves, we're not lying, it's actually happening. Hilary Swank is actually going to be in the next episode of Yellowjackets, despite us being on here for what feels like 4 years and hyping up this appearance.
Finally, they have been hyping this up. Finally, we have seen her in this preview. She is coming up. Finally.
Well, here's the craziest thing. We have all had tinfoil hats of varying degrees all season, being like, okay, who is Hilary Swank going to play? And then at the end of episode 7, it was pretty easy to hypothesize that, like, okay, she obviously has to be playing the role of Hannah's daughter, right? Because that's who Shauna's presumably visiting, as you sort of set up.
Right.
But there are a couple of moments, both in this preview and the synopsis, that you kind of look at and you're like, is this really who she's playing? Like, could she actually be playing someone else like Melissa, who is dead?
Yeah, confirmed dead in the last episode through the Yellowjackets, saying that Jen and Melissa are dead.
Yeah.
But are they? I mean, now it's kind of like really questionable if she's actually dead or not.
Yeah, we're going to try to crack that code in the preview. I've got a pretty hefty tinfoil hat theory ready, so go ahead and have that on standby. But first, be sure to hit that subscribe button because we are going to be here through the rest of Yellowjackets with reviews, previews, theories, all sorts of good stuff. This has been a very eventful 24 hours, given that the Severance finale also just happened. We have that up on the channel, and we are also covering The White Lotus. We're gearing up for The Last of Us, The Handmaid's Tale.
I know.
What a spring.
Yeah, there's a lot coming up here at the channel, so hit that subscribe button to stick with us. You can also follow us over on our Patreon for more Yellowjackets content. Plus, we are covering over there The Pit, which is airing on Max, Bosch Legacy coming up, its final season, and we're going to be covering Andor for all you Star Wars fans out there, and we are only covering them over on our Patreon. We'll have that link for you below. And before we get too much into this preview, I just want to give a shout out to Paramount for putting out that crossover that I feel like we all needed, but nobody saw coming, which is the Survivor Yellowjackets crossover. If you have not seen this promo, it is totally worth the minute of your time that it is. It's up on Paramount Plus's YouTube channel. It is hilarious. They've got Jeff doing Survivor games. The Yellowjackets are fighting for food. And they even have him like in this like barred off with like rolls of like wire around him, electric fence to make sure that the girls don't get to him while he's announcing the different pit fights and like deer runs and choosing who's gonna get eaten next. We even have the Antler Queen being like Shauna. It was so great.
I'll admit, when I first saw that they did this, I was like, okay, seriously, guys, for spending money on this? But then I actually watched it, and then I laughed, and when I saw the Antler Queen not only voting off Shauna, but also with the buff on her head. I was just like, okay, insofar as like corporate synergy partnerships go, this is actually pretty well done.
And it makes sense because Survivor has long been trying to entice younger viewers to
Yeah.
come back to Survivor because a lot of us have grown up with Survivor. It's been on for a million seasons now, and the audience is more our age. There
Yeah.
are younger people that watch it too, but it is a lot of fun. We are covering that here
Yeah.
at the channel as well. There is kind of a crossover. Nobody's getting eaten, but it is, on a deserted island sort of thing where they're all by themselves and have to survive in the wilderness. It's a fun show if you are looking to get into Survivor. You don't have to have watched any other seasons to know what's going on.
Yeah, it was really, really fun. And Yellowjackets itself is in a really fun place
Yeah.
because there's nothing that a lot of us love more than speculating as to whether or not someone who has actually been presumed dead is somehow still alive. And this is where we get to Melissa. So just from the promo alone, like without even getting into the synopsis yet, like one of the most curious things about this is it's not like Hilary Swank has a ton of airtime here, but the one thing she says is, does she know what you did? Question mark. What you're capable of? Question mark. And that really kind of infers, okay, is this really Hannah's daughter then? Because how much would she know other than what's on that tape, presuming she had the tape and she sent the tapes? Like, okay, she certainly knows some things, but this is a very sort of like, I know you on some sort of personal, intimate level thing you're saying to someone else.
Okay, tinfoil hat, the big
Yeah,
tinfoil
yeah.
hat. I just don't think that Hannah's daughter sent the tape. I just don't. I don't know what the motivation is for her to do such a thing, to not just send it to the police. Like, it depends on how much time she's going to be with the girls in the wilderness. We've seen in the preview that, half the girls are like, we should get rid of her. She's a witness. And half the girls are like, yo, she's away home. Why would we do that? That doesn't make any sense. Stop it. Let's
Mhm.
let her help us get out of here, sort of thing. I just don't think that she makes it out. I just don't. I feel like the tape makes it out, but I don't feel like she makes it out. And if only the tape makes it out, it feels like there's not enough information on that tape where Hannah's daughter would then be looking for the teammates and looking for the Yellowjackets to try to like kill them off or threaten them. Like, it feels like a stretch.
Yeah, and the thing was, watching this past episode, I was willing to take them at their word when they said, okay, Melissa's dead, Jen is dead, and I was just like, okay, that's fine. That's obviously here for a reason. But I think now that I've seen that quote, I think that reason may just be that the Yellowjackets think that they're dead. And if they think that they're dead, that means that some other funny business may have happened, but I'll get to that more in a second. But here is the part of the synopsis that I think is very, very telling. The unexpected return of an old teammate sends Shauna spiraling in ways that should probably concern everyone. So that implies that this is not something that Shauna expected, that this is someone that Shauna herself thought was probably dead. Because I did have this split second where I was like, okay, did Shauna secretly help Melissa to escape and told everyone she was dead? It doesn't sound like that based on this.
Yeah, it feels like they when they were talking about the fact that Melissa and Jen are dead, they were
Yeah.
talking about it like they knew it, like they ate them, like
Yeah.
they for sure knew that they were dead. Not like a bunch of us got rescued and some didn't, so they're probably dead, or something along those lines. Oh, like Crystal, oh, we're pretty sure she's dead. I mean, Misty know what's going on, but the rest of them, oh, she's probably dead, but maybe still out there, that kind of thing. They talked about it like they knew for sure, like they killed them, they watched them die, whatever it is.
Yeah, and this is where things get kind of complicated, but this is where I'm going with this at this point, where it must have been someone, whether it is a Hannah who may not have gotten out there alive, or whether it's somebody else within the Yellowjackets, that they must have had some moment where they were tasked with either taking out Melissa or preparing Melissa for dinner for whatever reason, that they were able to do something to effectively fake her death so that Melissa could then somehow find her way out of there, which is a little bit more plausible now that we know a little bit more about the Frog Watchers, because it's less believable to me, this idea that's just like, okay, they all let Melissa wander through the wilderness, because then they're not going to automatically presume that she's dead, or at least I would not think so. I think there had to have been something pretty deliberately done, and it would make sense if it was somebody like Hannah who helped facilitate this, because she's not as brutal as everyone else, and despite everything that happened upon her arrival, maybe she didn't want to go to some extreme level. So I just
Yeah.
think Melissa must have had to quote unquote fake her own death, or somebody must have helped her to do this in order for the rest of the Yellowjackets, who were all down these very bizarre rabbit holes with the wilderness and everything else, like they had to really believe that she was gone.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably going to be a situation where Hannah starts to build trust with the group. So,
Yeah.
because they said in this last episode, Jen, Melissa, they were really close with Hannah. So, Hannah's
Yeah.
going to be around a little while. Some of the girls are getting very close with her. Is it possible that Hannah then has built up enough trust in the group with some people? I mean, Shauna wants
Yeah.
everybody dead, but Natalie's kind of like, no, she's away home. Like, there are people that don't want her dead. Is it possible that maybe they're out for a walk or something along those lines, where Hannah's now a sort of a kind of functioning person in this group, helps Melissa dead herself so that she can find a way to escape, and that maybe the wilderness lets her go and she finds her way out. Later, we've got this synopsis where it's like Shauna's like really worked up because there's this unexpected return of an old teammate. I mean, we don't know
Mhm.
which teammates are still out there or not. We've had surprises already, like
Yeah.
Van, like Lottie, that are in the present, where we're like, oh, we didn't know who's alive, who's not alive, sort of thing. So it's possible that it is somebody that Shauna knows is alive, but they just haven't been in touch with. Or it's someone like Melissa, where
Yeah.
she thinks that she's gone, but she's not, which would absolutely send Shauna into even more, if it's possible, spiral than what is going on now.
Yeah, there's like a handful of possibilities, at least on paper, as to who this could be. I mean, everybody's kind of wondering about Mari, and we've all wondered about Mari for pretty much forever. Like, there's also the possibilities, like, okay,
Hillary Swank and Mari do not look like at all each other.
no, it's just like that. That doesn't feel like it matches. There's the whole like, could it be Jen? But it's sort of the same reason. Like we did a Pit Girl discussion earlier this week, and the reason we never really dove that much into Jen is so like Jen's barely on the show, and it just feels like with the amount of screen time they've given her, to have Hillary Swank magically being Jen, where there's no story buildup, it's just like that's not particularly great storytelling at that point.
Yeah, it's not a big enough payoff because, yeah, Jen has been around, but Jen has not really been around.
No, and if we were to talk about motive here, and let's just all go crazy here and think, okay, Hillary Swank is somehow playing Melissa.
Yeah.
The idea of you people all left me for dead, or you had
Yes.
Hannah potentially doing something to me to take
Yes.
me out. I do want my vengeance on all of you now, not just one person, but she may be especially hurt towards Shauna because they were close once upon a time. Like, all of that is great, but there's also a very big question that has to be answered on the show. If all of this is true, why now? Why so many years later?
Yeah, there obviously has to be something that's starting to kick this up. It makes the most sense if Jen and Melissa got close to Hannah. Hannah has buried this tape, that if she's like, please take this tape, please get out of here. Here's, everything I know about the trail to get out of here, what I can remember, go, that sort of thing. Get this to my daughter. And maybe she made a copy, kept a copy for herself. Maybe she clipped off just the part about, the confession or the goodbye, to be
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm out here. This is this horrible thing that's happening and I love you. And Melissa was like, okay, I'll just take this part of this tape. I'll give this to the daughter. I will keep the rest of it that has the murder on it.
Yeah.
And then when I need it, I'll come up with it.
Okay. Yellowjackets producers. Ashley Lyle, Bart Nickerson, Jonathan Wiscombe, speaking to you people right now. Do not kill off Hillary Swank over the next few episodes. You waited this stinking long.
I
We
know.
need to have this carry forward for a little while. But let's transition over to what you were mentioning with Shauna at the start of this video, where it seems like she believes the only way that she can make it through all of this, to use another Survivor pun here, is that she needs to be sole survivor
Right.
in the most macabre way possible. Like, is that foreshadowing that that's how all of this is going to end?
I have always felt that there's only going to be one left standing. And there's part of me that was like, man, I really hope it's not Shauna. I know there's a lot of people out there that are Shauna haters, and that's fine. She's
Yeah.
not the most likable character in a lot of ways, but because she is the person that gets the most screen time, she's, a huge star. She could easily be, she's the one with the family that we've all
Yeah.
seen. She could be the last one standing, but the show does like to throw curves and take out big characters. I understand there's the whole like Juliette Lewis allegedly wanted to leave the show and all of that, and that's why she got killed off. It doesn't matter. It was a huge
Yes.
Yellowjackets death. It doesn't matter the reason. They
Yeah.
didn't have to kill her off. They could have had her go off into the sunset and get better. They could have had any other ending that they wanted, but this was the ending that they chose. And this season, they've already been killing people off. They killed off Lottie. They've killed off Ben. It feels like this is not going to be the end of the deaths.
No.
Van is very sick. It just feels like they are going to continue to kill off the Yellowjackets in the present until there is one left standing. And I think the person who's going to be left standing is Misty.
Oh.
She just feels like she's always been the person that's the scrappiest to be able to continue to survive, even though not everybody likes her, not everybody wants to be around her, not everyone listens to her, but she's extremely smart, she's very scrappy, and she's been able to put herself into situations where she is thriving. She's done it in the past, she's doing it in the present. It just feels like she will probably be the last one standing.
I want that to be true, because as noted here, decades-long Christina Ricci fan, stand-up fellow members of the Casper movie hive. But I just think that's the...
She's the biggest star on the show besides now Hillary Swank.
Yeah, like she is a big star, and I do think that Misty is someone who I want Misty to have an element of happiness. Yes, she is extremely flawed. Yes,
She caused this.
Yeah, she's done some really, really bad things, but I think that she's a very interesting, dynamic character, and I don't necessarily think she's as dark as some other people out there. But
I agree.
It's funny, because if you had asked me at the start of this season who I think is going to be the last one standing, I would have said Van 120%. But after this past episode, and we mentioned this in review, like, I do think that Van's probably going to die now sooner rather than later. I am kind of worried that Shauna is going to be the last person standing now, and we are kind of moving in this really, really just dark direction where more and more people are going to go, and then Shauna's going to be the last one. But then when Shauna is the last one, the sky is going to open up, and then she's going to realize, oh, it didn't actually need to be this way, that there were reasons why a lot of this stuff happened, and I just let all this inner turmoil get to my head. And that's just a really tragic ending. I would like for there to be something happier than that.
Well, yes and no. Is Shauna wrong? Is Shauna right? I mean, you guys leave it in the comments, right? Like, if they allow Hannah to leave, is Hannah going to tell about Ben? Like, that's a huge thing that they were doing out there. Is
Yeah.
it a possibility that these kids would be forgiven, that there would be, trials or whatever that's going to happen, but that maybe they would be able to go back and have somewhat of a life? Yes, anything is possible, right? But
Yeah.
could they end up paying for this crime? Yes, that's possible as well, right? So is Shauna wrong in thinking like leave no witnesses, and now they're in the present and she's still the same person? Leave no witnesses. Nothing great is happening right now. You guys don't want to take care of it. I've always been the person to take care of it. I will continue to take care of it because I don't want anything to happen to my family. Like, you guys, if it happens to you, it happens to you, but it can't happen to my family. Lottie and Shauna, there's a motivation there for Shauna to kill Lottie. Out of everybody
Yeah.
in this group, I understand Ty has motivation to try to save Van, but Van's doing terrible, so it feels kind of like it's
Yeah.
not really working, right? but Shauna has real motivation. You know, Lottie tried to kill her. And then on top of that, she's like befriending her daughter, putting on the necklace. Like at that point, I was just like, Shauna, Lottie needs to go. Like, she's really dangerous. She's around your kid. I feel like a lot of Shauna type moms might decide to take her out.
Well, it's funny. We're covering this show on MGM Plus, Nine Bodies in a Mexican Morgue. It's really, really fun.
So good.
One of the things I love the most about that show is it's just that you could see almost any person on it as a suspect behind a lot of the murders that are happening here. And
Yes.
Yellowjackets is in a really good spot right now. And I know the season's been inconsistent here or there, but what I really like about this story with Lottie right now is that, yes, Shauna has an extremely large motive for wanting to do this. So does Ty. So presumably could Melissa, if Melissa's still, like, they have a lot of different suspects who all have legitimate motives. And I think the writers have also just done a really good job of connecting the past and present characters personality wise in a really good way this season, where I think the Shauna we've seen in the past has matched up really well with the Shauna we're seeing in the present right now.
Except for that whole thing with Walter and pretending to
forgetting
be
about
the internet, whatever, fixer-uppers. That was really terrible.
Yeah,
That person who wrote that part needs to just be sent straight to jail. I'm sorry.
I've severed that part of it from my brain, and it no longer exists. But that's where we are coming into Yellowjacket season 3, episode 8. There's not that much left this season, only a handful of episodes. Where does time go? But for you guys, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think Melissa is actually still alive and or played by Hilary Swank? Let us know in the comments. Hit that subscribe button. Support us further. Join our Patreon. That link is in the description below. We're covering there The Pit. Coming up, Bosch Legacy and Andor. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you here next time.